Okay, we are set.
Tell me when.
Go right ahead, Peter. I hit record.
Okay, so August 24th, 2020, Douglas Library Board of Trustees regular meeting. We do have a quorum, and Marion is on, our clerk. You out there, Marion?
I'm here, Peter.
Great, thank you. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
To the
to
flag
the flag
of
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty
and justice for all.
We've got
Okay.
to practice that.
Yeah, we do. Minutes. Has everyone had an opportunity to review the minutes of our July meeting? There any comments, suggestions, changes? Okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes.
I may make a motion to accept.
Thank you,
Second,
Dave. Okay, moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
Motion made by Dale Bland, seconded by M.A. Foote.
Kevin, if you would take the roll call, please.
Dale,
Here,
Peter,
Yes, aye.
Marianne,
yes,
Gail.
oh, she's muted.
Oh, Gail, you're muted.
or sleeping.
Marianne.
Well, I've got to fill this space here.
Sue, are you there? You're muted as well.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, are you in favor of passing the minutes?
I am, yep.
Great. Okay. Oh, Gail, would you like to vote? You look like you're unmuted, Gail, but we can't hear you.
Can't get her?
No, but Gail, if we could have her vote in the chat section, perhaps.
Yeah, and she's the one we need to,
Can someone call her? I mean, I'm on my phone, so I can't, but
yeah, anybody know her number? I'll call her.
Or, well, Gail, unmute, and Bill and Deb Witt is muted too.
Okay, I am muted. Can
Okay,
you-
so we're voting on accepting the minutes. Dale, Deb,
Yes,
so do you vote for or not?
I accept the minutes.
And
Aye.
that should give us the majority we need, Kevin?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, so it passes. Financial report, Kevin?
Okay, let me share the screen here so you can see the packet. Let's see here. Okay. Okay, so the financial report is page 8 in your packet.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay, so Peter, I apologize that I don't have the percentage column in here. I noticed that this afternoon. I'll send that out for next month. But we are, we flipped over to the new fiscal year, and the finance department has allowed us to start paying bills through the funds. So for the most part, not too much was spent out at the time of this report. Everything is pretty much where you would expect it to be. I've encumbered a good amount of funds, but that's just a beginning of the year thing, just so finance can keep track of purchases that I intend to make. So even though, like in this materials line, where I've encumbered 43,000 out of 45,000, that's just because I know the vendors I'm going to spend that money on. It doesn't mean it's spent yet. Any questions about the financials?
Okay, no questions. Thank you. We'll go on to the library director's report.
Okay, great. So the director's report is actually one page back on page 7. So I'll just read this through. It's been a busy month since we opened on July 6th. We've had a lot of staffing issues and a lot of building upgrades that we've been contending with, which has been good. We continue to be open 3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. In general, the transition has gone well. The cleaning regimen's a lot to keep up with for all of us. Cleaning twice a day in the building, plus a more thorough cleaning after we close. But the staff's doing a really good job with it. Patrons have been coming in a slow but steady pace. They tend to be brief visits. They kind of grab the materials they're looking for and check out, as opposed to sticking around for long periods of time. But we have had a few patrons that have sat at the computers and spent more time here studying or checking their email or that sort of thing. Everybody's been very good for the most part about wearing masks and following all the procedures. We've had to ask a few people to put their masks back on, but for the most part, it's been very good. We talked last month about putting an exterior sign out, borrowing one for the Friends to let the public know that we're open. The Friends weren't able to let us use the sign because it couldn't sit out for the amount of time and they needed it for their book sale. So I ordered a second one for us. I expected it to arrive a couple weeks ago, but the delivery date keeps getting pushed back. So I expect I'll probably have it by next week at this point. So it's similar to the other sign that we have out front that we can put out by the road. In July, we had 3,289 visitors and we circulated 3,200 items. So the breakdown of that is about 2,000 physical and 1,250 digital. So compared to last year, obviously all our numbers are lower. We're about 1,500 less items and visitors than last July. But when you consider that we were only open half of the days we were open last year, I think that's a pretty good showing. We opened a few extra days on August 6th, 7th, 9th, and 11th to help the community with internet access, device charging, and have a cooling station in the aftermath of Hurricane Isaias. This was appreciated by residents who needed our services, and it also illustrated the challenges of opening up the building for more days with our current staffing level, which is fairly low. We had another library assistant resign. Fortunately, the job posting that we had for the other people who had resigned back in June and early July closed, and we had a good group of interviews for the posting. So this report says, as of this writing, 3 individuals have accepted the job, but we've actually offered and had 4 individuals accept the job, which is great. There's usually, I wrote 2 to 3 week period, it's closer to 2 weeks between the job offer and when the new hires can actually start.
Showing the name there, I don't know if she doesn't have a camera on because I don't see it, but
I'm gonna mute.
I see Mary Ann Foote, Peter Casarelli behind it, and
okay. So we expect this group to start working in early to mid-September, probably next week to the second week of September.
audio. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, Jack.
Okay, I'm gonna mute it again.
I heard a cat.
Where's Gail?
Oh, maybe.
Kevin, the resignation of the LTA,
Yes.
do we know why that individual resigned?
They're planning on going to grad school. In addition to that, they have some family issues that working with the public with COVID was making them a little bit nervous about. So they felt that it was a good time to resign.
Thank you.
So the Planning and Zoning Commission will be reviewing the application for our exterior signs at their meeting tomorrow, and I'll be present to answer questions with that. The energy efficient light fixtures that have been installed around the building, they're running a little bit behind schedule. They thought they would be done with the whole building by now, but it's looking more like it'll be finished at the end of the week is what they've said. As of right now, the first floor is just about finished, and they're about halfway done with the third floor. So they think they'll finish by the end of the week, which I think they can do. I'll be attending a Narcan training on Wednesday, August 26th, a virtual one. And the children's department report, so story time is going to be done virtually until they're allowed to have groups again. So Sherry is putting together story packets that can be picked up at the library. And we'll have small packet projects, coloring pages, and activities that can be done at home. And actually, she gave me an example one here. So if you look right here, oh, wait, let me put myself on screen here. So if you look, you can see that there's like a construction paper house and some instructions here, in addition to some other kind of spelling and coloring sheets. So the idea is that the patrons would be picking up this packet in advance of the story time, and you can do the live story time alongside with them, or a pre-recorded version doing this packet together. Okay. Additionally, Sherry is reaching out to homeschooling communities to partner with them during the school year, because we can offer supplemental reading materials to support their curriculum. And the summer reading program is winding down. Response to virtual programming has been slow thus far, although it's the last two programs we've had have been a little bit larger of attendance. You know, still just about 10 or a little bit under, but bigger than they were the first few. We've got one more this week to go. And that's the end of the report. Does anybody have any questions about the director's report?
Okay, good, thank you. Friends of Douglas Library, are our friends out there? Anyone have anything to say?
I was at the Friends meeting last Monday, so I can tell you that they are planning on holding the September book sale in the community room downstairs. They put together a plan and had it looked at by the health district, and the health district said that they could go forward and do it. And the town manager's office said as long as the health department was okay with it, then they could do it as well. So they're setting up the room a little bit differently. So you can only have 25 people in there. So they'll have somebody keeping track of how many are going through, and it's going to be like a one-way maze through the room to end at the register, and then you'll exit through those emergency doors in the back of the building. So they're putting together some details about that, but that sale is going to be happening on September 19th. Right, make sure that's a Saturday. Yes, September 19th is the date for that. And that's all I have for that.
Did you say September 19th?
Correct, September 19th.
Okay, perfect. We're doing a clothing drive the same time.
Oh, great. Yeah, we should touch base. We could, you know, see if we can combine advertising or something.
Yep, okay.
Okay, town managers report. Donna, are you out there?
She's combing her hair.
I'm here. So I think Kevin covered the lighting project and the HVAC. I think we're going to talk about the roof a little bit later in the meeting. So I don't have anything facility-wise, and just with reopening, things continue to be going smoothly. I think in all of our buildings, we have adequate supplies of PPE, and we haven't had any major issues. And I think that's it for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. Board of Selectmen, Gail, are you out there?
Gail was missing.
You know what? It looks like she's there, but muted.
It goes.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
There you are.
Now we can hear you.
Oh, great.
Item
I'm
number
going to
6.
bring my whole laptop into Donna and have her cure me. No, I have nothing to report at this time after all that.
Okay. And I too have nothing new to report under my report for this. I'll talk later about Kevin's review. I think we're in good shape. I have visited the library a number of times. I think the lighting looks very good. As a matter of fact, one time while I was there were 2 young ladies, 2 high school kids downstairs on their phones, and they were quite pleased with the lighting. So random poll says the public is pleased with it. Okay, old business, building updates. I hope everyone has had an opportunity to see the spreadsheet that Kevin has developed
Right.
with all of the capital items down the left-hand column and dates and status across the top. That certainly has brought everything into focus for me. I know he's got some backup to this spreadsheet that's probably as long as your arm. But it does help, at least it helps me follow where we are with the various projects. So nice job, Kevin. If anyone has any questions on any of the projects, I think this is an excellent resource to use, and you'll see that we're up to date on just about everything. Did anyone have any suggestions, any thoughts, one way or the other on the spreadsheet?
I think it's well done.
Thanks.
It was
Yeah.
nice. It was also nice to have the photos of the possible carpeting. So it was good to see the choices we have.
Good, nice job, Kevin.
Thanks. I can talk a little bit about each item on the building updates if you'd like.
Yeah, why don't you just give us a real brief synopsis, and if we're on schedule, and if we're not, where we need to go, especially regarding the carpeting and the flooring.
Okay. Yeah, just because things are moving kind of quickly, the spreadsheet is up to date, but it's maybe a week behind. So HVAC and roofing. So the HVAC system is now, their new anticipated start date is August 31st. The lighting, I think, is taking a little bit longer than they were expecting, and they actually are still waiting for a few more materials that they anticipated getting early this week. So they think that'll happen August 31st. According to their previous calendar, that was about a 2-week install project. So hopefully by the middle of September, that will be done. As far as roofing goes, myself, Andy, Donna, and Willie met with people from Gordian to plan the roofing project. Gordian is a construction cost company, and they're working with NAIC Construction to replace the roof. They took a look at the existing roof, and they're working on putting together a quote for the work. While investigating the roof, there's like a wave that appeared in sections that they need to address when they put on the new roof. And
attention patrons, the library is in the process of closing. Please bring your selected materials to the circulation desk at this time.
So what they found is that the base layer of the roof is made up of 5/4 of fiberboard, and I believe they said perlite instead of plywood. So when that's going to be replaced, they'll replace it with a 1/2-inch plywood and then some sort of 3/4 of some sort of insulating material to make up the remaining depth there. I mentioned that because it's an unanticipated cost, but the town manager's office indicated that it shouldn't slow down the project at all. We spoke about the LEDs already. There's not really anything to add onto there. I'm going to skip the flooring for a second and just say that exterior signage, assuming that everything goes well at the meeting tomorrow evening for planning and zoning, then I can place the order for those. And there's a couple of, the turnaround time is a few weeks, he had told me. So unless it got a lot busier since I asked about that in July, we could probably expect those to be done end of September. if everything goes smoothly.
Right,
So the-
2020.
yeah, 2020, I should put that. I met with the contractor for the first floor carpeting last week, and we discussed late September as a potential install date. He told me he estimated the first floor would take maybe 6 days. The biggest challenge is going to be working around the materials that are in the Friends area, which, there's just a lot of books and everything in the back area they use every inch of space back there. That needs to be cleared out, or at least a lot of it cleared out so they can install the carpets. We're hoping that we can find a way to work around the book sale, because they'll be pulling a lot of the materials out of that room anyway for the book sale. And then maybe we can leave them in the community room while their area is being done, and then kind of move things back after the book sale. So that's the hope for that. Second and third floor carpeting, we need to choose what we want to put in there so we can start either getting 3 quotes, or if it ends up costing a little bit more, I think we're going to have to go out to bid. So we'll need to figure that out so I'm working on getting a quote with the existing contractor as soon as we pick something out for it.
Kevin, when you're talking about moving all these books and so forth and the carpeting, is there some way, between the Friends and asking community helpers to be able to move the books to make it more feasible for the carpeting to go in and the book movement and so forth?
I think so. I've spoken with Tim and Maureen about it a little bit, and it's going to be a bit of an undertaking, but that's partially why we're hoping to move it around the book sale, because they have a big volunteer push the day leading up to that to move a lot of stuff out. So, maybe we can piggyback on top of the volunteers that are already there.
Maybe using some students that are looking for community service hours or something like that. I mean, if we need it, or put it out, for people who are willing to do some work.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We don't have an exact, time when it's going to happen, but I will have to be reaching out for that sort of help when it does come. I'll make a note of that. Okay. So then, with the building updates in the packet, everybody has a copy of 5 flooring samples to look at. Now the samples that are here, starting on page 10, I believe. Scroll down over here on the side.
Yes.
Their website's very, very nice, and I was able to just kind of place the carpeting right on top of the library, which helps a lot with visualization. So what I'd like from the board, not necessarily tonight, but hopefully, maybe at the September meeting or in the near future, is to choose between these 5 patterns for what they think might work best on the main floor. So what I'm thinking about for this area would be everywhere except for the reading room. The reading room, we had spoken earlier about maybe doing something that was a little bit more period appropriate just for that space. So I need to investigate that a little bit further before I can provide any sort of samples or information about that. So we'll need to choose this main floor carpeting, the reading room carpeting, and then eventually the children's floor carpeting as well. So those decisions will all be coming up.
Do we have samples of what could be used for the main reading room and the children's section?
Not as of yet. My hope would be to have those for the September meeting.
So right now, though, we do have samples for the main floor.
We have these images for the main floor. I ordered samples, last week or maybe even 2 weeks ago, and I expect them to be in any day. So likely we will have them in the next day or so. He told me they took about a week to ship.
And that's just carpet samples, not flooring samples, right? We don't need flooring samples. We took the flooring samples. We took a vote on that, I thought, a while back for the lower level in the community room.
Yes, we already voted on the lower level carpeting and the tile for down there. So this is strictly just a carpet square or plank, depending on what you're looking
Well,
at.
and once we get a decision from the board, you're ready to move forward on the main floor carpeting.
Not including the reading room, yes.
Okay, is everybody comfortable this evening making a decision, or I offer as an alternative, on or before Monday the 31st, visit the library, take a look at what Kevin's got, vote on what combination you'd like to see. On Tuesday then, the 1st, Kevin, you could send me a synopsis of how the voting went. I don't need to know who voted for what particular color, just need to know who the winner is, what the number of votes are. And then at that point, the board allow me to give you the go-ahead to move forward with ordering the carpet so we can have all of this in the works and moving along as we need it. And as soon as the reading room samples are available, we do the same, and whatever we're going to do in the children's area.
Sounds good.
Is everybody comfortable with that, or would you like to do it differently?
No, it sounds like a good plan.
I'm
I mean-
fine with that.
Fine by me.
Can I just make one comment?
Can you make it during the comment section if I entertain a motion?
Sure.
Okay, thanks. Okay, I'll entertain a motion. Does anybody out there want to make a motion to that effect, please?
Oh, sure. So move.
Thank you, Mary Ann Foote. Any seconds?
Second,
Dale, that was you?
yes.
Thank you, Dale. Donna, you have a comment, please.
I just think we might want to think about holding off on picking the color so that we coordinate whatever we're going to do with the reading room. Because we may need to coordinate because there's going to be, one's going to be right up against the other. So we want to make sure that they don't need to match, but they need to flow. So I think we need to coordinate them.
And you think, Kevin, that reading room samples will be in sometime this week?
No, I need to speak with the carpeting company about getting a book of samples. I mean, the physical samples for the main floor area outside of the reading room would be in this week. I don't have anything chosen for the other area because they don't have it set up on their website the same way they have it set up for the carpeting tiles, because that would be broadloom.
I have to agree with Donna. One flows into the other. They definitely have to coordinate. Kevin, I think a lot of it should be left up to you. If we pick a color and what do we want it neutral? Do we want it in your face, or what do we want? And I think in the library, I think we just need a color scheme and let it go neutral.
For the reading room?
The reading room
Has to be a little more
room,
special.
if you have the rest of the floor neutral, because what you've got in there and you're featuring are books and other material, then you can take from that the color and use something more period appropriate in the reading room.
But it could look more like a carpet.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
I guess I don't totally understand why they can't be the same, but that's just me.
The reading room is a special period piece. So you kind of want something on the floor that just goes along with the other items that are in the room. Otherwise, I would say, yeah, it all ought to be one piece. So
Then it sounds to me like we should pick that first. I mean, if that's,
I pick for that first and then take the color off of there. Yeah.
if that's our fussy room, we should go to the fussy room first and then,
And then piggyback off of it. I
I-
see.
I mean, because from the pictures I saw of the suggestions, they're blues and there's patterns and there's geometric and as long as all of those colors could go with the reading room, then it seems like it could flow off of any one of those. And we're dealing with the same company, right?
Right.
So
It could flow color-wise, but with the pattern, you've got a lot of activity going on in these choices.
well, I mean, my personal feeling was the fifth one that was slight
Green and dark and
slight
yeah.
changes in tone, but none of the geometric modern stuff. That was my feeling to go along with the,
That's my favorite anyway, so we can vote right now.
the age of the library, and I would think something for the reading room would go well with that one. That's just my personal feeling.
Yeah, I don't like any geometric patterns or anything. It's a library, we have heavy traffic, and we're not featuring any furniture or anything. The feature is the library materials.
Right. I mean, the last picture was hands down my favorite.
Yeah, yeah. And then that certainly lends itself to picking something more period for the reading room.
Right.
And with the new lighting being brighter than before, I mean, that might affect what we choose, but at least this is deeper.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Shall we vote on the motion and see where it takes us?
Can we repeat the motion?
Please.
Yeah, on or before the 31st of August, we visit the library, look at the samples, tell Kevin what our vote is for the carpet, excluding the reading room and the children's room. Then on the 1st of September, Kevin gets back to me with a synopsis of the total votes cast and what the choices are, not by individual, but aggregated. I don't need to know who voted for what. At that point, you allow me to make the decision and say, okay, color number ABC got 9 votes, so that's the color the main floor is going to be. That then allows Kevin to go forward with what he needs to do in terms of ordering the carpet and filling in the rest of the spreadsheet for the main floor.
Unless the samples have not arrived.
It's my understanding those samples for the main floor, Mary Ann, have arrived. It's the reading room and the children's room that the samples haven't arrived. Is that correct, Kevin?
No, the MA is correct. The main flooring samples haven't arrived. They're due to arrive. You know, they really probably should be here. Should have been here today or tomorrow, based off of my conversation with the vendor. But I expect them this week.
Okay, so that basically was the motion. Okay, we've made the motion. We've had discussion. So I'll call a question. All
I
of you,
can take
Go
a
ahead.
roll call then.
yes.
So, Deb,
Yes, aye.
Gail,
Aye.
Aye.
Dale.
Aye. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Gail,
Aye.
Peter,
Aye.
and Sue.
Yes, I.
I don't get a vote?
Oh, I'm sorry, MA. Then the names shifted around on me and I missed you. MA?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I look forward to the email on the first, Kevin.
Okay.
And whenever you get the other samples in and we can begin the process, I'd like to just continue on with this process so we can get everything at least ordered.
Okay. Yeah. As we can get stuff out, I can send it out sooner instead of waiting for a packet or something like that.
Okay, next item, Poet Laureate, Marianne, that's been tabled and continues to be tabled.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay. Ordinance change has been tabled and continues to be tabled.
I'm confused with that. I thought we said we'd have Kevin send out the red liners and we were going to deal with that.
Well, as Kevin knows, I agree with Marianne. I thought that was going to be on the table today for us to vote on, because we need to get it into a town meeting and a public hearing, and or reverse that. We've been kicking it around for 2 years, so I thought we were done.
Okay, Kevin, can you get that out to us, please?
Of course, yeah, I'll send that out right now.
And that would
Well,
be
you
the
sent
regular.
it out on you sent it out on July 13th, or that's the date I have here.
I agree.
It was tabled at the last meeting on the agenda, and we took it off the table and we voted to move ahead with looking at the draft one more time. And Kevin did send it out after that last meeting.
Yeah, I have it right here. And Kevin, you had everything in red that we needed, that we discussed, and I looked it over. And the only thing I found on there was that we didn't change the association town portion. But otherwise, it looked like what we've been discussing off and on.
Okay, then we'll change that for next month. My bad, having put table down on that. And we'll make it, let's put it down as an action item to take a vote next month on the agenda.
Okay.
And are you going to do the one thing that Gail said was missing?
Would you like me to change it? Is there the ad?
We've discussed a couple of times, Kevin, whether or not we should keep the 6:3 ratio.
Right, right.
And it seems impractical under current circumstances. So we did talk a while back about changing that to 5:4. And at one time I was against that, but boy, I sure started to see the rationale behind doing that. And so I think that should be on there.
Okay, I can switch that to 5:4,
Yeah.
and then I can resend out the new copy.
Gail, when you say 5-4, that's 5 for the association and 4 for the general public?
Yes, whereas before it was 6:3. But times change, Peter.
Oh, no, I agree. And that actually was going to be my next comment. I almost want to consider 4-5, simply because you're right. Times change.
Nah, I can't go there yet. Don't laugh at me, Marianne.
Anybody else got a feeling on that?
Oh, I think we might as well go 9-0.
Sometimes I think so. No, the association turned over the building and the land. There was a lot of people in there, and it was my talking to them month after month at special meetings galore, why we should turn everything over to the town, and it was that the association would have some say. Is that gradually fading out? Yes. So we go from 6:3 to 5:4. Will that change in the future? Probably.
My question is, are there enough people in the association now?
That's why I said.
I don't know how many there are, and if there are any that would be willing to take on the responsibility.
Yes, there is one person on there that is very much willing to be on the board. And that's, forget her name, but it's Danielle's friend, and she was very much interested in being on the board and still is.
Is Danielle still on the board?
Yes.
She is, okay.
Yes, but we also have, don't we have a term that was a temporary?
Yeah, it took the place of, and now her
It took
name.
Julie's
Julie's
mentioned.
place.
Yeah,
That's Beth, and that term is up in December.
right. So we have to look at that also.
You are correct.
Well, a lot of pros and cons, but I'm hearing consistently to change the 6-3 to 5-4.
At the very least, I think.
At the very least, Deb Witt says.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think I mean, we have 2 association members who are on the board who regularly don't attend meetings, and you know, we're looking to get more association members on, and I don't know, it doesn't seem to be working this way at all.
And why should we wait? Why should we go 5-4 now and then in a year or two go 4-5? Can't we just take the jump right now? And any of those people in the association could also serve from the town. So, you know, there are plenty of places.
That's true. And I mean, is the association recruiting members? I don't know how many members there are in the association, but it seems to be kind of I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Seems to be dwindling.
Problem is, we cannot let the association dwindle or we lose the income from the trust.
Well, that's true. That's true.
That's a
So
lot
then
of
it's
money.
up to the association to make sure they recruit and have members. Otherwise, you don't have any pool to draw from for your 5 out of the 9.
Yep, that's the logic. Well, whatever the
Well,
board says.
It's a conundrum, but I think 5-4 for now, if that works for everybody, I can go along with it.
You have to go through a hearing every time you change something.
Right.
That's correct.
I mean, I'm just throwing that out there.
And
So if we change again in a year, there'd have to be another hearing.
That's my point.
Yeah, right.
which is both time consuming and costly.
Exactly.
Yeah, I guess my ethical problem with this is, once we change from 5-4 another way, what we're doing is the association no longer has the say that they had before. And I just know what I told all those people, but if the association, if this board votes for something different, that would be 5 from the general public and only 4 from the association. If that's the way they vote, I won't, I'm not going to be arguing.
I think with that in mind, there would have to be, the association would have to understand the ramifications of this and maybe build up a little interest from people instead of people sitting back and waiting for somebody else to do it.
Well, may I suggest for this evening, we leave the change at 5-4 and be ready with our opinions for our next meeting so we can put this to bed and get it over to the selectmen with either 5-4 or 4-5.
I would agree with that.
I would agree with that.
Fine by me.
Okay, I think you know what you need to do, Kevin?
Yep. I was doing it while you were talking. I'll send it out after the meeting.
Okay. Town email address, that's on there again, just to remind you to get a hold of Kevin and or Donna to help. Kevin has helped me immensely so that I have a town Gmail account and any town business is conducted through that Gmail account, even if it's as simple as, yeah, Kevin, this looks good for an agenda, do it. So I would remind everyone, please get your town email account out there. Okay, new
Can I
business.
I have a question on that. When you say you have a town Gmail account, so you created a second account for email other than the
No,
Hebron?
I have the Hebron CT, I'm sorry.
Okay, good.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep, no, thank you for pointing that out. Okay, director's evaluation. Gail, feel free to jump in here, and Kevin jump in too, but in a nutshell, Gail, myself, Andy, and Kevin met on August 3rd at Town Hall. We presented to Kevin and Andy a synopsis of the evaluation that you folks all filled out and sent in. Thank you very much for participating. What we did was we made it numeric in terms of so many people voted with this many points or that many points by item, customer service and community relations, organizational growth, those items. We also then captured all of the written comments, and they were all reflected in our discussions. Kevin did his own self-evaluation based on our form. We talked about what he came up with in terms of totals vis-a-vis what you folks submitted and we came up with. We think, Kevin, correct me if I'm wrong, it was a fair review. Kevin had some good suggestions. Andy has promised us that our evaluation of Kevin is the evaluation that will go in his file. We discussed with Kevin 6 possible goals for the 2020-21 review year. He took those under advisement, got back to Gail and I with what he thought were fair goals, some different than what we had and some expanding on what we had. So it worked out well. We are in the process now of still talking to him about that. Those goals will be finalized, agreed to, and then we'll send those off to both. Well, we'll send them off to 3 people. We'll send them to Andy, obviously to Kevin, and then to you folks. Gail, did you have anything you needed to add?
No, I think you covered it all. I think we should just add that it was not a quick 20-minute synopsis. We met with Kevin for, I think it was a good hour and a half, back and forth with all of the aspects of directing the library. And so we discussed each one of the headings in the form. And from there, based on the totals, the goals were developed, and Kevin was really tough on himself. He gave himself more in goals than Peter and I were going to do. And Andy was very, very pleased. So that's his evaluation for the year. That's what will go into his file.
Kevin, anything we forgot?
No, I thought it was a good meeting. I got a lot out of it, and I think that the goals are challenging but attainable. So I'm excited about them.
As long
My
as
only
the
question is,
goals need to be measurable and attainable. And during the year, of course, there will be follow-up to see how he's doing, because stuff happens, and sometimes something that seemed very feasible becomes 5 months down the road not attainable. And so you have to take that into account in any evaluation process.
Well,
You never know when we're going to have a pandemic.
Yeah, right.
is there
Anyone?
any way,
I if we look back at this last few months, I think as we look back at these last few months, Kevin has done a fabulous job keeping us informed, keeping the public informed, and really trying to keep the library available and open. And thank you, Kevin, for all your hard work.
Thank you, Dale. I appreciate that.
Good job, Kevin.
Thanks, Deb.
Okay, if there's nothing else on the evaluation, temporary library hours, Kevin?
Sure. Yeah, the temporary library hours. So we've been open with limited hours for a month and a half, I think pretty successfully. I think we've struck a pretty good balance between curbside pickup and, building access for the community. Once we get new employees on board and trained, we'll have enough bodies to open up the building more often. So since I think we'll be able to start new people next week, we could probably expand to full hours shortly after Labor Day if it was so desired. I wouldn't go right after Labor Day, but maybe a little bit later in the month. I wanted to take your temperature about how you as a board felt about getting back to normal hours, and if you had a timeline in mind in particular. So I figure this is a conversation between us and the town manager's office, and we can figure out what we think would be best for the town. Just for your knowledge, most of the libraries in the state, well, I would say so there was a report last week that was sent out that 65 libraries in the state have the building open to the public so far. So it's not like everybody else is wide open and we are lagging behind. And of the surrounding towns, Colchester has limited hours, though their hours are longer than ours. Glastonbury has limited hours. They're in just about every day, but for a half day every day, as opposed to we're, more like 3 full days. Lebanon seems to have normal hours. Columbia has limited hours. Andover has 4 days a week, but I think that's their normal hours. And Middletown has limited hours. So it's not like everybody else is rushing back to normal, but I do think we can get back to normal relatively safely with a few things addressed. The largest consideration is that we might have a custodial issue, right? We have Admiral cleaning coming 3 times a week right now. So they're in before every day that we open. We have additional help from the town manager's office who fills in the other 2 days of the week, which is good. But since we're open for 6 days a week, we would have to figure out how we were going to get cleaned between Friday evening and Saturday morning. Whether that's shifting over Admiral or from Friday morning to Friday evening or what. And then we'd have to ask Sarah, who's been helping us out from the town manager's office, to help with an extra day if that's something she even has time for. We also have all these construction projects to think about. It's hard to know exactly when they're going to go off, but obviously it'd be easier if we weren't open as often for things like replacing the HVAC. So if that's perhaps going to be done by the middle of September, maybe a little bit later might be better. And additionally, we also have the schools opening up right around now. So it might be nice to see how that shakes out and how that looks in a couple of weeks as well. So I just wanted to initiate some general discussion around it and see how you felt.
I think some of your ideas about the cleaning, this is a real concern. And if you're having construction and so forth, is that really wise to open full time? And with the construction, the cleaning and so forth, there are just so many issues with this whole period of time that we're in. I think you need to go slowly with full reopening.
And I have a question for Kevin. Have you heard any opinions from patrons saying they wish the library was open longer hours or extra days, or how does that seem to be going with patrons?
I think the patrons, I haven't heard a lot of people asking for more days, but we do definitely get people showing up on days that were closed and then coming up and finding the door locked. I think that that's a communication issue, maybe more than they need us to be open more days issue. It's confusing the days that we're open, and our hours are not the easiest to understand if you just glance at them quickly.
Maybe the sign that you're talking about being put out by the old town hall or on the green, so that people could see the hours, and that might make it easier for people, no matter whether it's in River East or how many publications you put it out in. You need a lot of visual, and maybe more signage or something like that.
Yeah, I think that would definitely help.
I like the idea of expanding the hours, but not to full time at this moment. Residents have a habit of picking on the Board of Selectmen, and we hear what people want. And yes, people are looking for more hours, but I can't see going to full time right now because we don't know the impact that is going to happen in September. The schools will be opening. Parents will be looking for material for their kids for anything that they want to read for a report or something like that. So I see increasing the hours, but I'm concerned about the custodial part of it. We don't want to be open when we haven't cleaned as well as we should.
Yeah, Gail, I agree with both you and Dale. My concern centers around construction, and I'd hate like heck to see us open more hours for a week or 2 weeks and then have to go back to shorter hours because we've got various construction projects going on.
Oh, yes, that wouldn't go over too well with our public.
Right. So I'd like to see us get some more of this construction under our belt.
Absolutely.
And at that point in time, reassess and look to opening the hours. Plus, we look to showcase the work that's been done, both exterior as well as interior, to the physical space of the library.
Okay. I think that the September meeting might be a good time to reevaluate, because at that point, we should, if everything goes according to plan, then we should be nearing the end of the HVAC install, and we might have a better idea of what's coming as far as when the carpeting is going to be done, and maybe we'll have some dates on the roofing as well. A lot of it's up in the air, so my trepidation is a little bit just, it'd be great to get all the construction done when we're on the limited hours, but stuff kind of has a tendency to be pushed back a little bit at a time, and I'd hate to, I would hate to wait around and then just have stuff keep getting pushed back. But I'm also not in a rush to open up, full time either. I just wanted to let you know that the option will be available when we feel comfortable doing it.
Yeah, I really can see increasing the hours, but I can't see full time. Increasing the hours would take care of those people who can't quite make it in those few hours that we are open now.
Yeah, a Tuesday or a Thursday would be relatively easy to add on to, and that would give us morning hours that were, we only have Saturdays for morning hours now. So yeah, we could definitely work out, adding one of those or both of those if we felt it was appropriate.
Good.
Give you some direction, Kevin?
Well, so what I'm hearing is interested in more hours. Any timetable on the idea of more hours, or do you want to evaluate it a little bit more at the September meeting?
I think evaluate in September. You've got Labor Day. You've got a couple of weeks. We're going to see how the school reopening goes, what's happening in the state, and I think we need to take it cautiously.
Yeah, I think it's wise to give the school opening, 3 weeks or so to see what's happening there.
And I think, Gail, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't September 8th the first
That-
day for the grade schools?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, September 8th is school reopening in Hebron. Mhm.
Okay, so maybe early October is more of a.
Yeah, maybe you can list the options and what your recommendations are, Kevin. And
Sure.
if we're looking at October at some time, we're probably going to be done with some of the capital projects, or at least making some progress on them.
Okay, that sounds good. I've got the direction I need. Thank you.
Okay. Strategic plan committees. I guess I'm first, safe place. I think Kevin, his staff and town hall folks are doing a great job supporting us and moving forward. I love the idea that we became a cooling center and a place where people could recharge their electronic devices and even use the bathrooms during the recent storms. So keep up the good work, and that's basically where we are with that one. Technology, Donna and Danielle, anything going on there?
I don't have anything new to report.
Okay, diversity, Dale, anything going on? Has anyone volunteered to help you with that?
I haven't heard anything.
Come on, folks, Dale needs some help. Let's help her out. Gail and Deb, community?
No,
No,
because
nothing,
what
nothing to report
community?
now.
What can we do? We're obviously not going to have any in attendance programs, so we're stymied.
Understood. And I don't think Althea's on the call, right? For lifelong learning?
No, she's not.
Okay.
Is it appropriate for me to be on one of these committees, or is this strictly for board members? Because I wouldn't mind, sitting down with Dale and helping out with diversity if we need an extra person there.
That would be lovely.
Yeah, I don't think it's a problem because as I recall, when we were developing the strategic plan, at the time Amanda was involved and at least 2 of our staff members were involved with equal votes on the committee. So Gail, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't see a problem with Kevin being a member.
No, I don't. As I see the plans that come up around the state, the director is very often involved. You don't see so much with staff members, but you do see the director involved. And like you said, Amanda had spearheaded this anyway.
Does anyone have a problem with Kevin's involvement?
No, not me. I think it's a great idea.
And Althea might like a partner on lifelong learning also.
Are you volunteering, masked person?
Oh, no, I was not thinking of me. I was thinking, I was helping Kevin.
Ah,
Now we gave Kevin one job, Mary Ann. We have to give you a job now.
God, I knew I should have shut up for once.
Yeah, I'll teach you.
well, Dale, it looks like we found a volunteer for you.
Thank you, Kevin. We will communicate.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Anything else for the good of the group? Okay, we all got our assignments. Hearing nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion.
Everybody wants to do that one.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
I didn't get who was the first and who was the second there. Was it Gail? Were you the first and Dale was the second?
Sure, whatever.
Whatever.
Okay.
That sounds good.
Sorry, I didn't get it. Sorry, what was it, Kevin? Who was first and second?
So Gail was the first, and
Okay.
and Dale was the second.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much.
It's just
Okay,
with our names.
all those in favor?
I,
Opposed? Abstain? Thank you very much. Thanks for attending. Stay safe and keep in
you
touch.
too. Good night,
Everybody.
everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Meeting.